Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. Today we're going to talk about Introduction to Intercultural Studies, Intercultural Contact. We are in the week 2. Here is our course presenter. Now, first of all, I'm going to talk about the challenge of returning home and reverse culture shock and the hero's journey. Okay. So we have the hero's journey, right? Like the idea of a hero coming home, returning home. It's a common narrative pattern in literature. And in this structure, our hero goes on an adventure, faces challenges, grows, and returns transformed. However, um, returning home is often difficult because both the environment and individual have changed, and this theme appears in stories from religion, literature, and film, and also in some real kind of real scenarios like soldiers. And I'm gonna talk about the sense of being caught between cultures. And uh, when you return home, when people return home, they often find that their everyday routines and familiar places now feel strange or different. And friends and family may not fully understand this emotional impact of these experiences. But I will give an example from myself. When I came into this city for university, I've always dreamed of like going studying in another city, experiencing new things, but I really didn't imagine it could be that hard to go back home in holidays or after exams. Because when I go back home, maybe it's because I have memories in there, like I have my high school memories, secondary school, elementary school memories. And when I go back there with my college student version, I feel foreign because every uh, each moment feels different. It's not a feeling that I can describe, but I just mentioned, like, even my family treats me different. They're asking me questions about my college life. My level has changed in front of their eyes, and in their eyes, I'm a brand new person, and uh, I'm not related to that city anymore. So yeah, but also at the same time, I don't feel fully belong to here either because I am discovering a new version of myself. And while discovering, I don't know all the answers right now. And because of that, I don't feel fully belong to here either. It's a complex situation. I know it's a complex situation. Anyway, now I'm gonna talk about reverse culture shock and in-betweenness. I already mentioned about in-betweenness, but um, here are some students, Gabby, Jessica, Yusra, and Grace, and I'm gonna talk about each of them. Gabby says she missed the life she created in Morocco. By the way, these are students who University of Leeds students who returned to the UK after a year abroad in Morocco. And Gabby says uh, she feels sad because she missed the life she created in Morocco and felt completely forgotten by others at home. Her experience is a reflection of a reverse culture shock. where the return feels harder than the initial move abroad. This is some kind of a thing that when you go back home, it hurts. When you come to your university city, it hurts. It hurts simply. I mean, it was like that for me, so I can understand Gabby. Yeah. Uh, I can understand Gabby because return feels harder because when you go there, all of your memories are in front of your eyes and you're missing your old life maybe. And Jessica felt excited to come home at first, but then she realized that everything was unchanged while she herself had changed. Um, this actually led to a disappointment and a desire to return Morocco. And this is what we call in-betweenness, where she doesn't fully belong in either place. I don't know which one is more close to mine, but I guess I'm living all of them right now. I'm experiencing all of them. First weeks were so hard, especially, and Yusra, Yusra says that um, initially felt fine on returning because she was busy with family and religious festival. However, after a few months, she developed a longing for Morocco, missing simple everyday pleasures like walking to get breakfast in warm weather. Her experience shows how new routines can become meaningful, making the return home emotionally challenging later. Yeah, when I think about my hometown, I had that type of routines. I had the places I like to go in the mornings, in the afternoons, or in the evenings. And yeah, it can make an emotional uh, blank emptiness. I can understand her. And Grace struggled to express to others how deeply her year abroad affected her. She found that people wanted a short answer and didn't fully understand the depth of her experience. You know, sometimes this happens. Sometimes people can't fully make empathy and understand the depth of your experiences, of your emotions. This is totally okay. But this created frustration in trying to communicate the significance of her time abroad. So, what we can understand from all of these things, we can understand together all of this shows that returning home is not simply a physical return, it involves emotional and psychological adjustment, and you cannot return as the same person. No, you cannot return as the same person because intercultural experiences can be transformative even if coming home is difficult. So. Now I'm gonna mention Kikokushijo. I don't know quite well how can I pronunciate it, but you know what is it? It's Japanese parents, children of Japanese parents who work abroad and return to Japan after living overseas for several years. For people who move frequently, constantly, the concept of home becomes uncertain, and identity may no longer be tied to a single place. And there was a uh, student, Yasuko, I guess, a University of Leeds student, researched these experiences of these returnee children, and she defines this word as Japanese-born children who spend at least 2 years abroad due to their parents' work and then return to Japan, and of course, these children would struggle readapt to Japanese culture, Japanese society, and they often face some challenges, some difficulties like being treated not fully Japanese, or uh, being teased for speaking differently, behaving differently, and feeling disconnected from their cultural norms and expectations. This word was basically about that. Now we're gonna talk about holidays, framework, blocks, and threats. So it's uh, what can I say about that? Holidays framework is Adrian Holiday. There's this guy, and he offers a useful way to move uh, limiting cultural assumptions. Like we have some cultural blocks and we have cultural threats, and cultural blocks are uh, us and them, us versus them thinking, certain ways of thinking can reinforce us and them distinctions, especially when culture is treated as a rigid, uh, what can I say, uniform category. Like, while concepts like nationality, race, gender, and class are often used to understand difference, they can unintentionally encourage essentialist thinking and deepen divisions. And cultural blocks and cultural threads, it's like present cultures are separate, rigid, and internally uniform in cultural blocks. And it encourage questions like, how do people in your culture, which assume everyone within one culture behaves the same, and promote binary thinking like us versus them, like in our culture, your culture. It's like that. And limit opportunities for genuine connection or understanding. And cultural threats represents a shared human experiences that cross cultural boundaries. And examples include parenthood, education, or simple daily actions like shopping or waiting in a queue, and help people relate to one another through common things or differences. And cultural threats, sports, dialogue, empathy, and connection. So, this Audrey Holiday argues that focusing on threats rather than blocks helps us to reduce cultural bias and resist essentialist thinking. Yeah. However, he acknowledges that we naturally shift between blocks and threats because a society constantly pushes us to see a difference. Key idea is what? Um, Key idea is to better understand interculturality. We should try to move beyond culture as a rigid category and instead pay attention more universal experiences that connects people. We shouldn't focus on cultural blocks. So we have preconceptions and assumptions. This is like we unconsciously we form preconceptions and assumptions about others, often based on appearance, language, religion, age, clothing, race, behavior, and these judgments shape how we understand people and how they understand us. And we make these judgments often without even realizing, based on both verbal or non-verbal clues, and these categories like class, race, gender, sexuality, shape or assumptions, and we need to examine these categories from the inside to understand how they influence us. And there are some labels, simplistic labels like the homeless. Uh, this erase the complexity of people's stories. This connects to what? This connects to Holiday's idea of cultural blocks, right? Which encourage rigid thinking and binary divisions. Media narratives can reinforce these blocks by presenting entire countries or cultures through stereotypes. We need to avoid this assumptions. It's difficult but possible through metacognition, while by being aware of our thoughts and challenging our first impressions. Metacognition is the keyword here. It's important. And we have connections, divisions, and overcoming divisions. Okay. So we have in this category explores what brings people together and what separates them. It revisits concepts like in groups, out groups, and how humans seek a belonging through shared characteristics. And connections are people naturally, I'm saying naturally, form groups based on what was the word homophily. It means the tendency to associate with others who are similar. Actually, this is something all of us has. Because when even someone listens to same music that you like, you make a connection with them, like, right? And these similarities can include favorite sport teams and political views, socioeconomic status, national or regional identity, ethnicity, religion, and such common bonds create a sense of belongingness, which is it's basic human need. It's basic human need, and through shared cultural practices like sports, colors, music, films, accents, traditions, people gain identity, strength, and they feel accepted, acceptance. Um, they gain a captains, and divisions are uh, the reverse version of connections. The same categories can also create division and inequality. Labels such as nationality, race, and ethnicity are socially constructed, yet they shape how we see ourselves and others. And nationality can lead to othering, where people are judged through narrow stereotypes. What did we say? How is it like your culture? We're assuming that everyone in that culture treats or behaves the same, you know? And we judge people with narrow stereotypes. And race is not fixed. It changes over time. For example, there was an example, but I forgot it, and it was about categories in United States, but I forgot it, so never mind. And these social categories, these divisions can lead to discrimination, hostility, and even war. I'm serious. I'm serious. Even war. And overcoming divisions are there's there's no easy solution to ending social divisions. Many conflicts throughout history come from struggles over power and resources. However, it's possible if we maintain positive aspects of belonging, and while we also embracing openness toward others, by with widening our sense of community, we can reduce division, and we can be better at intercultural understanding. Yep. Now, I'm going to talk about what is ethnography, why ethnography, and origins and early problems, and how ethnography evolved method and principles. Okay, so what is ethnography? Ethnography is basically the systematic study of people and their everyday practices, um, and it focuses on observing real life scenarios, real life within a social group, helping researchers understand how societies function in practice, I'm sorry. And why ethnography? Because ethnographers immerse themselves in the community they study, and by living closely with participants, they gain rich and detailed information about everyday life and strong relationships with participants, and observations across multiple contexts, and the emergence of multiple voices and multiple perspectives and insights into the difference between what people say and what they actually do. And this makes more meaningful, and this makes or that data more meaningful, and helps strengthen intercultural awareness and understanding. And origins and early problems. Ethnography is historically connected to colonialism, making its early methods kind of problematic. And a key figure here is Malinowski. I only remember surname, so sorry about that. And key figure is Malinowski, whose study of ring in the in an island. this this study showed systems of exchange and reciprocity. However, photos and accounts from his research reveal power imbalances, okay? Like the ethnographer positioned as superior to the studied group, and this sparked concerns about authority, representation, and ethics. And I'm so sorry. Just I'm kind of sick and I talk too much. These things happens. And how ethnography evolved, how ethnography changed by documentary filmmaking, digital ethnography, uh, education research, modern ethnography especially challenges old assumptions and focuses on what? Highlighting inequality and injustice, social injustice, I'm sorry, and recognizing multiple meanings and perspectives, and avoiding a neutral scientist's attitude, and respecting voices in the community, of course. And methods and principles are ethnography is inductive, uh, which means it builds theories from theories from real observations, not the other way around, okay? And it's often focuses on micro settings, like small environments, and it requires long-term engagement. And ethnographers must be patient observers, yeah, patient observers, uh, because they're gonna balance science with storytelling. Yeah, that was it. Now, my throat is fighting for life. For real. Now we're gonna talk about the four key principles. Okay, the four key principles. It's uh, it's these four key principles uh, that guide any ethnographic study, and I'm gonna explain them. First one is participant observation. What is participant observation? The ethnographer, I'm so sorry, really. The ethnographer watch, listen, interact, and sometimes participate in the activities, and this helps them understand behaviors and cultural practices as they naturally happen. And ethical reflexivity is is basically ethnographers constantly reflect on their role, their impact, and their responsibilities, and they consider power imbalances. Consent power imbalances, consent privacy, and the emotional well-being of participants. They consider emotional well-beings of participants, and they must avoid harm, and they should respect the participants' rights all time. And third one is data collection. Data collection is data can come from notes, interviews, photos, recordings, and documents, etc., etc. And data collection, ethnographers gather information over time to build a detailed picture of setting. And data analysis is basically like after collecting the data, they search for patterns, themes, and insights. And they look for meaning, okay? Not just in what people say, but what they do. Yeah. And analysis helps create a clear understanding of the culture or group being studied. That was it. And this is my comment. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you liked the video. See you in the next week. Goodbye.